Hello? Ava, can you stop, please? Do you want to come sit with me? Okay.
Mama.
All right.
What are you doing?
Hold on, babe. No. Ava, I need that. Give it to Mom, or not. All right, I'm going to hop right into it. Can you get that to Mommy, please? Can you give that to Mom? Thank you, ma'am. You can take those ones. Good morning. As you jump on, if you want to know, let me know where you're watching from. And are you guys ready for Christmas? All right. All right, Ave, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Can you take this away? All right. All right, guys, let's hop right into it. So if you're just watching for the first time, I am a former infectious disease registered nurse, and I'm going to go over with you guys today polio by the CDC numbers, and just how deadly that this disease actually is. So let me turn this around. All right, so you guys, this is from the CDC Pink Book website. You see right there, CDC. And you can see the web link at the bottom. All right, so if you go to CDC Pink Book, you can look up all of the diseases that we vaccinate for. They give you the actual numbers, how it's spread, all that good stuff. So this is poliomyelitis. And I should mention that poliomyelitis is just actually a term to describe an inflammation of the gray matter in the brain and spinal cord. So it's not necessarily actually caused by the wild polio virus that we vaccinate for. Okay, so that's something important to know, that they don't really tell you, in informed consent in the little sheets that they give out at the doctors or whatever. Okay, so this first page, I just wanted to show you that this is actually from the CDC, and you can see at the bottom there's links for all of them, and I will put the link in the video. Okay, so how it's spread through the mouth. Okay, so it's going to enter through your mouth, and I'm just going to go ahead here. This is going to be really short and sweet because the numbers do speak for themselves. Transmission, okay? Person-to-person spread of poliovirus via the fecal-oral route is the most important route of transmission. So if you are going to have polio-infected stool come in contact with your mouth, then I would be concerned that you might contract the wild polio virus. If you're not concerned about that happening, and you actually wash your hands like a normal person, then I might not necessarily be concerned about coming in contact with polio-infected stool, especially a baby, okay? So this is the clinical features, how it actually presents itself. It talks about the incubation period, which is basically the time from when you're infected to the time that you start to show symptoms, okay? So the response to poliovirus infection is highly variable, meaning it's going to vary from person to person a lot. Up to 72% of all polio infections in children are asymptomatic. They're not going to have any symptoms at all, okay? Infected persons without symptoms shed virus in the stool and are able to transmit the virus to others. So even though they aren't showing symptoms, they can spread it. All right, so 24% of polio infections in children consist of minor, non-specific illness without clinical or laboratory evidence of central nervous invasion. So 72% are not going to have any symptoms. 24% are going to have symptoms that are nonspecific and minor. So this is known as abortive poliomyelitis and is characterized by complete recovery in less than a week. This is characterized by low-grade fever and sore throat. So here we are, 96% already of polio cases. Vast majority are going to be the worst, low-grade fever and sore throat, okay? And then it talks non-paralytic aseptic meningitis, which is stiffness of the neck, back, and legs, usually following several days after a prodromal or prodrome similar to that of minor illness, occurs in 1 to 5%. So they could have non-paralytic meningitis. That's 1 to 5% of polio infections in children. And typically these symptoms will last from 2 to 10 days, followed by complete recovery. So we were at 96%. Now we're at, 97 to over 100. So basically saying everyone who's infected with polio, for the most part, is going to have a complete recovery. Fewer than 1% of polio infections in children result in flaccid paralysis. Okay, paralytic symptoms begin, it goes blah, blah, blah. Talking about that. But less than 1% are going to... Ava, can you please turn on the light? My daughter's in here. But I will never get a peaceful moment to do this by myself. So it's just got to happen the way it is. So fewer than 1% are going to result in paralysis. And it talks about paralytic polio is classified into 3 types. Spinal, which accounts for 79%. Bulbar accounts for 2%. So this is 79% of the less than the 1%. In 2% bulbar cases, or less of 2% of the 1% cases, okay? And then 19% are a combination. The death to case ratio for paralytic polio, which we've already said is less than 1%, is 2 to 5% among children. So 2 to 5% of children among the less than 1% that end up with paralytic polio are going to die. Ave?
Mom.
So this is at the high end. If we're taking the 5%, that's the death rate. If we're taking the death rate for adults, that's the death rate for adults. And if there's bulbar involvement, there it is. Okay? So, yeah. Those are the numbers according to the CDC, you guys. And I also wanted to show you this little graph here. If you guys don't have this book, hold on a second. It's called Dissolving Illusions, Disease, Vaccines, and the Forgotten History. And this book is absolutely freaking awesome. It has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures, like original pictures from back in the day. It's got the citations at the bottom, so hundreds of citations for all you. Oh, show me the link. You know what? If you want to really do yourself a favor and do your kids a favor, then you will do the research yourself and go seek it out yourself. Okay, so this is a graph from this book, and these are incidents of diseases, infectious diseases, from 1912 to 1969. It has measles, smallpox. Ava, Lord have mercy. All right, and then this is the acute poliomyelitis, and that is literally all the way down here. This is the incidence of the frightening polio, right here, all the way down at the bottom. Yeah, okay. I don't know, this is like really different from what we're told. This is really interesting. I will also say that my grandfather did have polio. I don't know if he was infected by IDDT or if it was the actual polio virus, but he was, he did have to walk. Well, if you try to get in the drawer, babe, you're not going to fit and it's going to hurt. It's like you tell them not to do something and then they just automatically want to do it. He had to walk with a cane for the rest of his life, but you know what? He was there mentally. he wasn't having to wear diapers for the rest of his life, or he didn't end up not breathing or anything like that, and have to be resuscitated. And so yeah, that's the real numbers, you guys. So if you want to share this with people who are bringing up the polio, or you can just go right to the CDC Pink Book. It's right there. You can't refute the numbers. So, and I highly, 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 highly recommend this book. It is awesome. All right. Have a great day and Merry Christmas, y'all. Bye.